the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
PTR TV heads across the pond to Belgium tonight as we visit one of the world's most famous racetracks. Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps has held 24-hour races, Formula One races, and has given fame to many drivers' careers with victories at this astute racetrack. Tonight, the Red Sox Racing League takes their turn here in round 4 of 6 in their 6-race GTE campaign here live on PTR TV. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to both YouTube and Facebook Live here for tonight's race. And of course, it's going to be myself, Corey Silva. I will be manning the cameras as usual with my longtime partner, Evan Black, helping us out. Want to give a shout out to Track Camps 4 Gourmets as well as Fame Motorsports for helping to put on tonight's broadcast. So, Evan, we covered these guys a couple weeks ago. We were at Road Atlanta, obviously a much shorter track, of course, in America, and we saw a really exciting race, and the format this league does put on with these races definitely leads to a ton of action. So as we head to Spa, I expect that to continue.
Yeah, 30-minute sprint races here for these GTE cars definitely creates a lot of action here, and especially with there being that one pit stop with how much fuel these guys do have, that just adds a bit more strategy into it. So you have to be aggressive, you have to be fast, and you have to have a good strategy picked out, which last week, is kind of just, or not last week, but 2 weeks ago, last time we covered these guys, it was all pretty similar and when everyone did come down pit road, but at a track like this, Spa, it's a lot bigger of a track, so if you do pit a lap later or something, that's going to cost you quite a bit of time for those fresh tires.
Yeah, and we are on track right now as qualifying is underway. These guys heading up Eau Rouge into the Kennel Straight here, which is going to be the biggest drafting opportunity on the racetrack. And Well, that's just going to lead to what I was just about to talk about, Evan. This track with these GTE cars, with the hole they punch in the air, the draft is huge in these machines, especially in the BMW. We know how big that machine is, so there's going to be a lot of opportunity to, if you don't get the best run off the corner, if you're within the realm of I'll say about 3/4 of a second, you're going to have to watch out when you go down the hill into Eau Rouge, or you head up to Kennel Straight. You're going to have to watch out behind you, because there's going to be runs happening.
Yeah, there's quite a few straightaways down this track, and long straightaways, so you're going to have a lot of opportunities to use that draft to your advantage, or have someone use it against you. And especially going to see that here in qualifying, is trying to get a draft lap, I'm sure, but also you don't want to be behind someone that is going to be slower than you and mess up your lap.
And going on the lines of qualifying as well, and for those who are aware and kind of used to the iRacing simulation, if you're in the driver's seat, of course you know, but as a fan, iRacing has incident limits and incident kind of track limits built into the racetracks, keeping you on the racing surface. And the way that Spa is, it is very easy to kind of go a little bit wide, and iRacing Race Control will kind of give you a little bit of a slap on the wrist. And if you go too far off the track at some of these corners, Evan, sometimes even a little bit too far over the rumble strips even, it'll invalidate your lap. So as hard as you want to push, and as hard as you think you may be able to push, sometimes here at Spa you just have to dial it back a couple of percent just to stay on the track.
Yeah, because a lot of times you can still be on the part that's paved, you can still be on the asphalt of the track, but you will get a 1x just with how iRacing has this, what they consider to be the track, and it can, like you said, Corey, it can easily invalidate your lap.
All right, so those are what these guys are fighting for right now. Jason DeVries is currently up by half a second over Ross Booth, who won last week's race, which we did not cover. We'll kind of give you a little bit of a showing of what the schedule is right now. Twin Ring was race 1. Road Atlanta we covered here on PTR TV. VIR was where they were last week. Ross Booth won that. Of course, we are at Spa, and then they will head to Nürburgring, and then we will be covering the final race at Zandvoort in 2 weeks' time. So given that we are 3 weeks into the season, the point standings here for the mini series that they are on the 6 races. David Schutt is leading it after his win at Road Atlanta that we covered. Ross Booth with the other victory in second. Terry Dahl, Mark Wilson, and Scott Houston in 5th. Lachlan McMillan, Dave Hill with the other win on the season. He's back in 7th. James Prostel Jr., William Cabela, and Bill Pollocky, the top 10, all separated by 33 points. So that definitely is going to be something to check out for at the top of the point standings, and to see how everybody is. David Schutt, Evan, he's leading the points down. He's 5th on the standings, but he's 5th on the order right now, but he's 7/10 off of DeVries, and now that could just be a matter of pace here on the 4.3 mile track, or there could have been draft in that qualifying lap as well.
Yeah, and like he's 7/10 off of the fastest time, but he's only 2/10 off of second. Ross Booth is a half second off of our current qualifying leader. So yeah, Schutt is 7/10 off of the fastest guy, but he's only 2/10 off of second. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that, as you know, it's kind of hard to know, you know, with Jason DeVries, you could have had a draft lap there. Just with this track and how long the straights are and how many straights there are, getting that draft can really help you.
Yes, and of course we won't know unless we actually got to go back and watch the lap. And as a disclaimer, we do know, I know Spa very well, and I do have the track map pulled up, and we're going to try to be as official as we can with our diagnosis or our description of the track. So if I do mispronounce a word that is not kind of known to my memory, please forgive me on that. We will do our best. I know Eau Rouge, we have Blanchimont, we have Les Combes, La Source. So if I do say anything that's not correctly pronounced, kind of give us a little slack on that. We will do our best. Definitely getting used to this road racing side on the channel. We are not something we haven't done too much, but we're definitely looking to get into it. We love covering these guys, and I know we will be hopefully covering these guys more into the future, so we do hope you enjoy the coverage of tonight's race. And David Shutt, as we're talking about that, he comes to within 2/10 of the front of the pole position of DeVries. So just as we said, him being a half second back, and you can see just ahead of him, he has a little bit of a toe. Maybe that is what he was using, and he is going to be able to finish this lap. He started the lap. There's 3 minutes left as a cool down, so anybody who is on an active lap is going to be able to finish it. So it will be interesting to see. The person in front of him just pulled off, so he's not going to have any more aid of the draft. Ross Booth in third, and he is on an active lap. Oh, no, he no longer is, having issues right there, but and we will have 3 more minutes to see if anybody is going to put in another time.
Still a few cars out there on track trying to improve upon their lap times.
Dave Hill, remember he's 7th in points, but does have a win this season, is currently still on track as he is heading through what I believe to be Pajon, about turn 12 complex, heading into just about the campus and staff lot.
And yeah, Corey's going to be trying to go by corner names. I'm going to go by corner numbers.
So between the two of us, we'll get them right.
Yep. I know Al Rouge and the Kimmel Straight. That is about it for me.
Yeah, now they are heading on to Blanchemont, which is the straightaway that is not straight in any regard, but it is a flat-out corner, and it'll head us into 19 and 20, which, Evan, we can get this one right, too. The chicane.
It's the chicane.
All right, and then we head down to the start-finish line, which in this configuration of Spa, we are on the GP pit configuration, so the pit road, as we are following Dave Hill, the pit road is right here. You'll see Dave Hill going right there before the chicane. This is the start-finish straight. They have the very narrow pit lane that he is on right now, and then after La Source, that is where it'll feed down into the hill. So it is a very tight situation exiting the pits here with drivers that are exiting the pits and drivers that are exiting the hairpin and heading down the hill. So there was a little concern of that in practice, so hopefully these guys are kind of showing their communication on the radios and being safe as that does happen. And we did expect, Evan, about 8 laps. I think we were told 7 to 8 laps on the pit cycle. Remember, we have a 31% fuel load in this series in these machines for these half-hour races, so we'll talk about it later, Evan, but again, Spa, 4.3 mile long track. If you run out, if you run out at all, there is no chance of getting back here. And remember, 4-point penalty if you finish the race and you can't make it back to the pits.
Yeah, and really, with how this pit road is, even if you run out in the chicane, there's a fairly high chance you will not make it back to your pit stall.
You have to make it, as clarification, you have to make it to the pit entrance cone. But odds have it, you're probably not going to make it to that point if you're even cutting it that close, but we will see what happens. The timer is ticking down right now, so what we have for a order is pretty well and set. So let's prepare to give you the starting lineup for tonight's race for the Red Sox Racing League. On the pole position with a lap time 2 minute 14.009, it's going to go to Jason DeVries in the number 19 machine. Congratulations to him on that lap time. David Shutt in the second position. Ross Booth in third. Mark Wilson rolling off in the fourth spot. We have Lachlan McMillan in fifth. Dave Hill in sixth. And then John Kostelneck and Kevin Kyle, seventh and eighth.
And rolling off in the ninth position, we have Scott Husted in 10th, Jason Breifogel, and 11th, Roger Rios Matthias, 12th, Terry Dahl, 13th, Kevin Riedel, 14th, Joel Portel, 15th, Christopher Jimenez, and rolling off in 16th is Mark Kudrowski.
And then 17th, Bill Paul Lucky, Ed Sutcliffe in the 18th spot, Joshua King in 19th, James Prostel Jr. in 20th. Les Turner in 21st, William Cabela in 22nd, and that is your starting lineup here tonight. A very quick showing of the track conditions here tonight. Partly cloudy skies, 82 degree track temp, 77 in the air, 2 degree wind, and you can see the configuration of this 4.3 mile 21 turn track in Belgium. And Evan, it is actually, what time is it in the iRacing sim world right now?
It is just past 7 o'clock.
All right.
It's like about 7:11 right now.
7:11, so it won't go night, but it is gonna start to darken up here just a little bit. So, but these guys should still have plenty of visibility, so that should not be a concern. And we are starting the pace lap on Blanchemont on the back straightaway here, so not very long to go until we get a green flag here tonight on PTR TV. Of course, going to be looking forward to see how these guys get through. Evan, Eau Rouge is not a corner, not a set of corners that you want to do double file. I mean, it's possible someone's going to go wide off track, but it's really a corner. You have to play nice, get up it nice and safely to start this race off.
Which I'd say more than likely at the start of this race, these guys are going to play nice going up through there. But as you can see, it looks like the leader, David Shedd, is already kind of starting to play a bit of games here, letting the pace car get a little bit ahead. Probably just trying to make it a less awkward spot for them to get the green flag.
Yeah, for us on the American side, the Charlotte Roval kind of has the same kind of effect, where the green flag comes out right in the middle of a chicane, kind of awkward, so set yourself up to be able to go at a reasonable time. That's what they are doing. Here we come through the chicane, and the green flag is in the air. 30-minute timer underway.
Pole winner De Vries gonna get a pretty good jump.
Oh, and we have a spin. We already have carnage at the back end of the field.
And his Ford got turned around there. Like we were just saying about it being kind of awkward starting in a chicane, that's just what happened.
Yes, it did, and Rydell in the 15, he's already righted back. We'll try to see if we can see what happened to him off that initial start, as we already only one driver to have an issue. I will say that is pretty good. You can see he got the green flag in the chicane. You're hitting the gas and then immediately braking for what is a corner, and he just got turned by one of the BMWs there. Couldn't quite tell who it was. Back end into the fence, but does carry on at the back end of the field. But up front, battle for the lead. De Vries already passes Booth, shut back to third on the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, Booth was trying to take a look to the the left side going into that corner, and that was not the preferred lane there. Fell back to second, hanging on to that spot for the moment. We'll see if De Vries can pull away and kind of just break that draft. That is going to be the main thing for him to do right now.
Yes, it is, and we did see a little bit of connectivity issues from Booth. We saw that at Road Atlanta as well. That'll make Shutt a little bit nervous as we head into the complex right here into campus for this attempted pass on the outside. Here he's going to try to squeeze it out there. He turns him, and he's going to save it. Booth saves it into the kitty litter, but he is going to save it. What a bit of driving by the 6. He has Gorilla Glue on the side of that car. I'm pretty sure he used a little bit of that on the tires there to keep that thing straight. As we head on to Blanchemont onto the back straightaway into the chicane, nothing is going to happen up front with the draft, as De Vries has over a second lead nearly at this point. But we will say that Mark Wilson, who the league wanted me to give him a special shout out for what he has done for the league. He's running in 4th, closing in on previous race winner in the season, Dave Hill, into the chicane.
Yeah, good start there by Dave Hill, up to 3rd from his 6th place starting position. And it's a really nice job from Ross Booth. He only fell back to 5th, so he is by no means out of this thing. And
he's only 2.5 seconds off of the lead pace, and he is just behind this battle that is Hill and Wilson. So he's going to be able to get back up there. He's going to have to keep his internet connection in close eyeball, because again, that does affect the other drivers on the track in their efforts. So going to have to keep an eye on that. We'll scroll back just a couple more positions. I see Roger Rios Mateus in the 8th spot. He is on Kemmel Straight right now in full tow of Scott Husted. Is he going to pull out a line as they head into Les Combs? No, he's going to stay put right behind him.
Trying to get a good run through 7 and 8 here. Didn't really gain too much. Still just kind of right on his back bumper. Losing a bit of ground now through turn 9. So you're going to go down into 10. We'll see if he can gain any more. Kind of just hanging around right there, just about a 10th off of his back bumper. See if he can close in.
And this is the part of the track we were talking about in qualifying, where it is very, very easy to have the iRacing stewards kind of give you that little slap on the wrist with the off-track incident situation. You do want to avoid that. You can't go too wide here through this sector of the racetrack, and these guys are keeping it on the pavement just as they need to do so. Heading into campus right now, 13, 14, 15 segment, and that'll set us up for the run back to the chicane. And just as these guys start to fizzle out, we'll go back a little bit further. Some battles going on throughout the field. Lachlan McMillan, the SRA machine. The SRA dominated at Road Atlanta, nearly went with the podium. They ended up finishing 1, 2, and 4 there. McMillan not having the run he had there. Here he comes to the right side of Jason Reifogel in the 57, trying to get a battle into the chicane. Turns him! Reifogel, hard impact into the barrier. We'll go check that out on the instant replay. See, he was setting himself up. McMillan was setting himself up to try to be on the outside heading into the chicane, and Reifogel...
There's really nothing McMillan did wrong there. I mean, he was as far to the right as he could be.
There was a little bit of a wiggle, but I think just kind of an unfortunate tight racing situation there. But Reifogel will carry on at the end of the pack with that significant damage, and we'll have to make the most of what this remaining 25 minutes has to offer for him. And Evan, I see about a 4-car kind of pack heading up Eau Rouge right now. Joe Portelli, Terry Dahl, Mark Kedrowski, they're going to be in tight proximity as they get the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, those 4 drivers going down the Kemmel Straight now. We'll see if anyone can make a move. Doesn't look like anyone can for the moment. Oh, as Kevin Kyle gets really loose, entering the corner. Into the kitty litter onto both sides of the racetrack. That's gonna put Joel Portelli in that position, and Kevin Kyle let everybody by there, just kind of let himself reset. Now he's gonna have Christopher Jimenez, Bill Paul Lucky, Ed Sutcliffe and company behind him as this second pack of drivers, and he's still going wide, Kevin Kyle is, so he's going to have to keep himself in check. Rather, it was Christopher Jimenez that was kind of getting wide there. So in the middle of the pack, Evan, there is a little bit of aerodynamics in play. Obviously, with the draft, it's going to help you on the straightaways, but when you do have kind of a long conga line of vehicles going through these tight corners and a lot of these downforce corners, there is some dirty air. It will be a little bit harder in traffic. Yeah, it doesn't affect him too much, but it does just that little bit. And also, if you get really close behind someone, it does make it a lot harder to see around the corner, because it's, you've got a car right in front of you. I don't think right now anyone is close enough to have that issue. But
especially if you have a BMW right behind you. Roger Rios Mateus, he is right now in front of Lachlan McMillan in one of those humongous BMWs, and that thing just fills up your mirror entirely. My goodness. But McMillan into the chicane. He's going to dive it on in there. He's going to put himself in that position. Crossover to the outside of Mateus, and he turns him. But
Rios Mateus, he saved it.
He used McMillan as a kind of a bumper there to save himself from spinning around. But a power move into the chicane by McMillan. Maybe a little too powerful if you're the 22, but everyone does continue. So
up front, DeVries starting to pull away up to just over a second lead over Shutt, and about a 10th quicker last time by.
Yeah, 2:14.0 to 2:14.1, and Dave Hill is actually Dave Hill the last time by was not nearly as good as David Shutt, 0.3 slower, but he is within the slipstream range. Both of them still in relative proximity to your leader. If anything, I'm in the top 5. I mean, they're within 4 seconds, so that's not too far off. We're about halfway through what this fuel stint is going to be. Lap number 4. We expect these guys pretty much a mass conga line between lap 7 and 8 onto pit road, because We saw at Road Atlanta, there was a little bit of a fuel window, maybe about 3 laps, but I think just with the extended distance of this place, the fuel window really is going to be limited to about a 2-lap window.
Yeah, I know they were saying it's going to be about 13 or 14 laps. Kind of depends on the pace of the race. I think most of them were kind of planning on it being about 13 laps so after that pit stop, so we're just going to have to see how that all plays out when these guys do decide to come down pit road, but like you said, probably about halfway through.
All right, and battle on track. Everyone is pretty well spread out at this point. We're going to go all the way to the tail end of the field right now. Les Turner in the 0-1. He is battling with Joshua King. King in the number 35, that bright pink Ferrari. Kind of words you don't usually put in the same sentence, but he did pull away. King did pull away from Turner, but there is a little pack just ahead of that. I see Prostel Jr., he is trying to close on Sutcliffe, Paul Lucky, and Jimenez. That's 14th, 15th, and 16th position. Let's see if anybody's going to make a move into the chicane. A little bit of defense.
Think about it.
A little bit of defense by Sutcliffe, but by Paul Lucky, rather, putting the defense on Sutcliffe, and everyone does choose to stay in line for the time being in that battle. But up closer to the front of the pack, Evan. Mark Wilson, we were talking about him earlier. He is 3/10 of a second behind Ross Booth in the 6th. You can see he's going to be in the slipstream. Well, unfortunately, if Booth is blinking in and out, I don't think there is going to be a slipstream for a car that's not there. If anything, that might have actually had his favor to blink at that part of the racetrack, but it is causing Wilson to close in, and we'll see. This is the toughest part of the track to make any kind of overtakes. It is pretty much a 1-lane part of the course right now as you head through, where are we on the track right now? Pajon into Campus. This whole segment of the track is just kind of switch back, and you don't really have enough of a braking zone to make a pass, and at the same time it's a little bit too fast, too downforce, so you really just have to kind of stay put. And if you are Wilson, you're really worried about what is happening with that inconsistent 6 car right now.
Yeah, because it's a lot. It makes it really difficult to try and race around him, because if about a quarter of the time you can't see him, a lot of times you don't know when is he going to reappear. Is he going to reappear when you're too close to him and you're going to hit him? Or I know there can be a lot more of the net code with that.
And of course, just a nature of internet racing. Obviously, what we are doing, drivers from around the countries, around the world, either side of the pond. So it is a part of it, internet connection. We require a solid connection to iRacing to provide the data for the sim to know where you are on the track and what you're doing. So unfortunately, if there is a little bit of a hiccup in that line of information, you see the issues we are seeing with the 6, but hopefully they will clear up to the point of competition. But heading into the chicane, Evan, Terry Dahl closing in on Portelli and Roger Rios Mateus once further, and again, that battle at the tail end of the top 10, these guys all separated for really about a second and a half, the closest group on the track right now. Up front, De Vries has pulled away by about 2 seconds over David Schutt.
Dave Hill is still kind of closing in on David Schutt. He might be able to have a run on him here. It's going to be close. Schutt going to the right side to defend. Hill taking a look to the left side now. Not going to be able to clear him. He's going to be on the outside for the first part of this corner.
Oh, Schutt.
Almost contact, but Hill clears him.
I think Schutt just kind of played a little bit nice to him right there, gave him the line. He kind of figured that Hill was going to keep it there, so we may as well just kind of make sure we both finish the race and kind of just give him the inch there, maybe take it back a little bit later if the opportunity presents itself. Now we'll see what Hill can do in comparison to De Vries. Last time by, the lap times were 0.6 of a second separating De Vries and Hill, 0.6 in favor of the 19 of the leader. But look at Schutt. Here he comes through the sector of the track. He's not backing down yet, almost bump drafting him, if you will. Here he comes with the pass attempt into the corner.
Hill going to shut the door there on Schutt. Not quite able to make a move. This Schutt is trying to. And really, I thought Dave Hill was faster, but now He has gotten by. It kind of appears that it's kind of shifted over to David Shutt, who is a bit quicker. We'll kind of have to see once Hill kind of gets in the rhythm of being out front and being on his own, not having anyone in front of him to guide off of.
Yeah, that's a very good point you bring up, Evan. I'm kind of glad you brought it up because actually I was about to say it myself, but when this happens to us many times on even the oval side of racing, you get so used to using the reference points of the driver in front of you. Shutt looks to the outside, entering the chicane. You get so used to the guy in front of you that when you are the guy in front, all of a sudden, like you said, you gotta kind of flip the switch. All right, I'm running my own pace now, and the guy behind me has to adjust rather than the other way around.
And there, Hill goes wide through turn 1. Didn't lose too much time though. Kind of actually helped him to get a bit of a better run off the corner, which is definitely what you need as you get ready to go into Al Rouge.
And then Booth behind this, he's 1.2 seconds back, just out of what'll be the draft range, I believe. So I don't think he'll get what he needs to get the draft this time by. But if he does keep this pace up of closing in, maybe next time by they will be him and Wilson right there on the tail end of this battle. But I do want to bring up the lap graphic at home for you guys to show who is doing what, and we have to omit the 6s. Again, with his data issue, the timing is not scoring properly, but what we can see up front is De Vries at a 2:13.97, 7/10 faster than Dave Hill, and we saw how much faster Dave Hill was than David Shutt. So 7/10. Yeah, that 19. This is his race unless something happens at the pit stop or he has just some kind of driver error.
Yeah, De Vries continuing to pull away from these guys. And I kind of thought after qualifying that David Shutt might kind of have something for him, but it looks like at least in the longer run, he does not have anything for him.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out, we didn't have confirmation if De Vries, remember his lap time was so much faster, 7/10 faster than Shutt off the get-go, and we didn't know if that was a slipstream lap or if that was just a lap based on pure speed. And just based on what we're seeing, I think that was just a pure speed lap, and it took Shutt using the draft to be able to close in to be as close as he was on the qualifying order.
And De Vries, he's actually ran 3/10 quicker than his pole lap in this race.
Yeah, and of course that could be attributed to burning fuel down. That could be attributed to the sun going down and the track just cooling off, adding to the grip available for these drivers. Tires coming up to temp, of course. In this kind of style of racing, you need to get that temp in the tires. Sometimes it takes 3 to 4 laps to do so, but we are on lap number 8, and first set of pit stops, it actually is David Shutt.
David Shutt coming down pit road here. We'll see if this might end up helping him out a little bit over De Vries and Hill. We'll kind of see how it all does cycle out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll kind of watch at home what is the time on pit road for Shutt, and we'll have that as a reference to other drivers. About a 10.6 second stop for David Shutt. And he will merge again. He said he's going to merge out of the final hairpin here, out of La Source, heading down the hill. You have to merge into traffic. That's James Prostel Jr. that he comes right out in front of, heading up Al Rouge. See, Prostel, this is going to be for position. Of course, the 16 does still need to pit, but this is for position at the moment. I think the 16 is just going to concede, knowing that Shutt is faster, and of course, it's not going to be a battle for position for too long. But De Vries, he is already getting through Stavelot, heading on to Blanchemont, and then heading into the chicane, and what we assume to be a pit stop in the near future, because we heard lap number 8, and, well, that's about where we are right now.
We'll see if he does decide to come down pit road this time. I would assume that he is going to. There's only about 12 minutes left in this race.
Yep, now he is on the Blanchemont. Kind of called my corners a little bit too quickly there, but now he is there. And, of course, right before this chicane, I'll go on board so you could see, as he does head into the pits, which we are almost 100% certain that he will do so. Hard on the binders here, and rather than take the second left of the chicane, he is going to go straight into the pit road. Very narrow entrance here. I'd be surprised if someone in this race didn't hit the wall there, trying to get into the pit road, but 30...
Dave Hill also coming down pit road. Looks like everyone that did not come down last time, it was coming down here.
Which is what we expected. Kosledek, McMillan, pretty much as you said, every single person who did not pit last time by, without fail. It is... I really don't think I've ever seen that before. Just... every single person is the absolute massive conga line into pit road. Kind of a sight to see, in all honesty, Evan.
Yeah, it's just with how big this track is, it kind of narrows down the window majorly to where they really only had about 2 laps that they could come down pit road and make it to the end.
Yep, so of course the drama of the situation now turns into when or how much fuel did you put in, and is it going to be enough? Remember, to win the race is one thing. You won't get the win taken away from you, but if you are not able to drive back until the entrance of pit road, which again is another 4.3 miles here at Spa, it's 4 points taken off of your winnings for the race, and of course you don't want that. So, well, I'm looking at the times, Evan. It was about a half-second faster stop for De Vries. Now, that could just be a matter of the pit crew doing a little bit better of a job, or it could be him taking just that little bit less fuel. And, of course, if that is the case, we'll see how that plays out.
And, well, you can see with David Shutt and Dave Hill, well, that pit stop changed nothing between the two of them.
Yep, they entered the pits in a tight battle. They exit the pits in a tight battle. And I still think Evan Shutt is not happy about how tight of a way that Dave Hill passed him. Because he's just really, I mean, he's racing very aggressively. Of course, he wants to stay with him. He wants the position. But I just feel like there's a little bit of a, you really shouldn't have raced me that tight that early in the race kind of vibe going on.
Yeah, it does kind of seem that way between these two. And we'll kind of have to see how Shutt does continue to race him. Hopefully these two do keep it clean, and I think they will.
And this is a tight set. We saw the issue here with Malcolm and McMillan trying to make a pass early. They're going to be side by side through blind spot. Yeah, a little bit of contact heading into the chicane now. Is that just going to agitate Dave Hill a little bit? Remember, Dave Hill, as he did win a race earlier this season, and we have been told he's been pretty much the dominator in this league in the recent era, has really been kind of the guy to beat. And it's been up to these other guys to try to knock him off of his pedestal up there. David Shutt being one of them. Jason De Vries here at Spa, obviously showing that he is a man to be reckoned with at this racetrack at the very least. But here we come down the hill, up Eau Rouge. This is the fastest part of the track, obviously the most slipstream-oriented part of the track. And if
Dave Hill got a good run here.
Yep, and he's going to have the run. He's going to get it down the Kemmel Straight. And where is he going to go? He's going to go to the outside. Shutt a little bit of a block. Going to give him no room to the outside. Shutt with the defensive line now middle of the track. Shutt had the preferred groove through the first segment of the corner, and now he will take that down the hill here. And Hill is going to have to wait for the next opportunity to present itself.
Hill had a really good run out of turn 1 and up Eau Rouge, and just with that slipstream was able to get next to him. But just having that non-preferred lane through that corner really just hurt him.
Yep, 13, 14, 15 we are going to be headed to shortly. And this is a part of the track you really just can't do that much in. You're really just kind of stuck in this single file formation, because if you get a run on one side of the track, of course, with the switchbacks, you're just going to be put into the, as Evan said, the non-preferred segment of the track for the next corner. And naturally, you're going to have to fall back in line and concede the spot. But if you head through 16 very well, you head down the back straightaway, you get that run. I don't think Hill is close enough to take advantage of it, so Shutt may be okay, at least for a little bit, which gives us an opportunity to go through the field and show who else has some battling going on, as we are within 7 minutes, just at about 7 minutes left on the timer, so the better part of about 3 to 4 laps, depending exactly how it plays out. But We go back through the mid-teens, Evan. I see Kevin Rydell, Bill Pollucky, Mark Kidrowski. Again, the back end of the field kind of had the longest line of cars in proximity. It still seems to be the case.
Yeah, pretty good train of cars there. From about 14th, 15th on back or so.
Now, something did happen. We didn't catch it as we were watching the stops, as these guys are closing in. Terry Dahl had a 26-second pit stop. He was up there right at the edge of the top 10. Obviously, the average pit stop has been about 10 to 11 seconds, so not sure what happened to the 53, but that 26-second stop cost him about 10 seconds on the track, put him into a bubble entirely by himself. That will definitely hurt the run that he was having. He did have a pretty good run at the end of the top 10.
I think he might have been speeding, actually.
It would make sense, because about a 10-second stop with a 15-second penalty, so that would, the mathematics would prove that to be pretty accurate if it is indeed the case. But I want to go back to that battle with Rydell, Jimenez, Pollucky, and Kidrowski. We do have side by side right now. That is Kidrowski and Pollucky heading into Les Combs here at the end of the Kemmel Straight, and Pollucky will fall back in line, and Sutcliffe in the 33 will try to close on in, and you're not missing anything up front. Schutt is now back by 7.25 seconds over DeVries, who is, again, he's led pretty much every single second of this race, barring about a half a lap in the pit cycle, so.
Even now, I think he actually might have been leading.
Yeah, because he hasn't.
He was the last car to pit.
Yeah, he has been scored leader the entire race, so he's just doing just about everything right. And looking behind, at least for the top 5, Dave Hill, he's not closing on Schutt anymore. Schutt locks him up heading into the chicane. Well, that's going to allow Hill to close in. We saw how tight these guys were battling, and just as I was about to say that Schutt was kind of gapping himself and kind of getting himself into his own little bubble, well, he kind of just ruined that for himself, and now Hill's going to be right to the back bumper.
Oh, contact.
He turns him in the final hairpin in La Source. Schutt goes on 2 wheels. Hill is going to get by, and now that's going to put Ross Booth in 3rd, Mark Wilson in 4th. Let's go back and catch that on replay.
And David Schutt is not going to be happy after that one.
We talked about it all race, Evan. Talked about it all race, that the way Schutt passed Hill earlier in the race, it seemed to kind of start a little bit of animosity between the two. And obviously, I think that went through with how that pass may have been made. Just kind of forces his way in there. I mean, I don't want to go and say it was an intentional dump, because it may not have been, but just the way, again, those guys were racing, they weren't cutting each other an inch. It kind of seemed like they were a little bit snippy. And obviously the result proved, but at least for Schutt, he didn't fall too far back. He still is in 5th and within a car length or 2 of 4th, and there would be a chance that he could even catch back up with the right circumstances to Hill.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what does happen if he does catch up to him. And like you said, there's a pretty good chance of that. And this here is either going to be 2 to go, or it could end up being a white flag. It's been kind of hard for us to know. Because back at Road Atlanta, I know Corey and I thought it was 2 to go, and then the checkered flag came out. So
yeah, I turned off the laps on the ticker. We do have the actual timer out right now, and the timer shows 3 minutes, and he should be at start finish with probably the better part of about 2:25 to 2:30, which would give them a chance to run more than one more lap. So I would take a gander that we are on 2 to go. Yep, here we are. This is start finish right now at, as I said, right about 2:40.
You said 2:30.
Oh, okay.
You're about 8 seconds off.
I wanted to be right. Well, all right, now I'm being told 2 to go here on the graphic package, so we're gonna hopefully see if that's accurate. And David Schutt was able to get by Mark Wilson, get himself into 4th. He is 2 seconds behind Ross Booth. Ross Booth closing in on Hill, and of course Hill with that blinker, that connection issue that Booth has behind him, makes that battle all the more stressful, because he's going to have to defend a position where he's not fully certain of where the vehicle is.
Yeah, and it can be kind of distracting just seeing that behind you, just seeing a car kind of going in and out, and we'll kind of have to see if that does allow maybe Shutt to catch up to these two guys.
Yeah, right now.
Or if they do start racing, that could also allow him to catch up.
His Booth, he's in the slipstream range right now. He gained 0.3. I think he may have gained more if he was able to hold the connection to the server. That wasn't the case. But it does seem like Hill is running a nice steady line. I think it's going to take a really power move from Booth to make something happen. But I don't put it past him, and I don't put it past Hill maybe overreacting on a defensive situation. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But again, we don't want to take too much away from up front. We haven't talked about your leader, and the only reason we haven't talked about him too much is because there's been nothing to talk about. He's just pretty much hasn't made a mistake that we've seen all race, has kept the car on the track. I don't see a scratch on it. It's just those races that the driver dreams of. You drop the green flag and you just go, 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 and pretty much you cross your T's, you dot your I's. I almost said that backwards. But you do just about everything you need to do. That's what DeVries has done, and there is 50 seconds left on the timer, so we'll see if it gives him one more lap, or, I mean, there's a chance we might be taking the checkers. We'll see. Looks like we should get one more lap. We are heading into the final corner with about 30 seconds on the timer, so we will head into the white flag lap for the Red Sox Racing League Round 4 here at Spa.
And it looks like DeVries is going to be able to hang on as long as he has enough fuel for one more lap. He'll get the win, and he's going to be hoping he has enough fuel to make it back around after that so he doesn't get that penalty.
Yeah, that is, of course, after the post-race. That's something we usually kind of omit, is watching the cooldown lap. It is something that we did watch. We did see one person at Road Atlanta run out of fuel, and see if that does happen again here tonight. We head down the front straightaway into Eau Rouge for the final time, watching Hill and Booth in that battle for the second position. Booth does have a hell of a run. He's going to have the slipstream to his advantage as well. What's he going to do heading into Les Combs? Well, he's going to do nothing.
Yeah, didn't quite have enough of a run to get next to him. He's starting to run out of opportunities here.
Yes, he is, as he heads through the sector of 9 through 11, and a little bit of a hairpin right here, but he's not close enough to take any advantage into it. Heading into Pajon, corner number 12 into Campus. Again, from here, pretty much until the back straightaway, not much you can do in the way of passing, so I think Hill is going to be pretty much in the position to hang on to second, and 12 seconds nearly ahead of this, as it is starting to get a little bit darker here at Spa. Nighttime just on the cusp, but we are going to finish this just before that. Heading into the last couple corners, here is Jason DeVries. Led every single second of this race. Very well, as Evan said, may have led the entire race, even including the pit cycle. And that number 19 machine, he's been pretty much almost half second plus faster than anybody else this entire race, and round 4 has his name on it. Just has to navigate the chicane one final time. That number 19 of Jason DeVries is going to head into the chicane here at Spa for the final time. He's going to do it nice and clean, as he has run this entire race, and Jason DeVries is going to win round number 4.
And going into the final chicane, got a three-way battle for second. It looks like Dave Hill is going to hold on to it.
And David Shutt just cut to the back bumper there of Booth, not close enough. And we'll see. Again, we have to watch it. We'll watch everyone cross the line, and we'll also watch to see if anybody does run out of fuel. And David Shutt has passed third place Booth, and what is he doing? He's I think he's going up to see his friend a little bit there. But the checkered flag is in the air, and guys still crossing the line, completing their race. And of course, again, per the league rules, we still do have drivers finishing their laps. James Prostel Jr. and Kevin Rydell, that's 12th and 13th. It looks like Prostel will hang on for the 12th place finish. Finishing down the order here, Joshua King in the number 35. He's crossing the line, holding off Terry Dahl, finishing behind Sutcliffe, and making sure everyone finishes the race. It gets back to the pits under power. It does appear, at least at the moment, that is the case. So now that everyone has crossed the line, let's give you your finishing results here today from Spa. Leading all 14 of the laps we completed here tonight, Jason DeVries in the number 19 machine. Dave Hill will come home in second. Ross Booth in third. David Shutt, after having that issue with Hill, finishes in the fourth spot. Mark Wilson in fifth. Lachlan McMillan in sixth. John Kosselneck in seventh. Scott Husted in eighth. Joe Portelli in ninth. And rounding out your top 10, Roger Rios Mateus.
And coming home in the 11th position was the 65 of Kevin Kyle. In 12th, James Prostell Jr. In 13th, Kevin Rydell. 14th, Christopher Jimenez. 15th, Bill Pomlucky. And rest of the top 20, we got Ed Setcliffe, Joshua King, Terry Dahl, Mark Kudrowski, and William Cabela in 20th.
And then the last two drivers, Les Turner in 21st and Jason Breifogel. Both of those drivers had issues very early on in tonight's race. So again, these guys still are, because remember, we are on a 4.3 mile track, still are completing their cooldown laps heading back to pit road. I still see everyone under power. Jason King may not be under power. Well, Joshua King, excuse me, in the 53. He's rolling down backwards. So I think he may have some issues.
His engine's still running, but maybe he's going backwards.
I think he's just maybe entertaining himself at this point. So I'm kind of waiting to see. We had a couple interviews last week that we did talk to these guys. I think they did have the directions to the booth. Fortunately, I'm not seeing anybody head to the trailer to talk to us, but we do have one person to talk to, and that is league owner Terry Dahl, so we can at least bring him in and talk to him about his race and the situation with the league. All right, Terry, a race here at Spa just completed itself. Jason DeVries with the dominating performance. Fortunately, we don't have any of the top three at least yet to talk to, so we figured we'd see how your race went tonight.
Well, it was going really well until I decided to speed on the entry of pit lane.
Yeah, we saw you in a battle for the better part of the top 10. You guys had it was almost like a 6 to 8 car, just all separated within 2 or 3 seconds, really, all the group of you. And obviously the tough pit road here at Spa, you said, was kind of your Achilles heel, but what was the handling like out there? And ultimately, where do you think you probably would have finished if pit road went a little bit better for you?
Well, I definitely had a top 10 car, maybe a 9th.
Yeah, unfortunately that is not the case, but again, a nice race here at Spa. So you guys head next week. We're not covering it, but you guys head to the Nürburgring GP circuit next week. So what are your thoughts heading into that event?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks. So I'm kind of looking forward to that one. So looking forward to that one and the one after when I bring you guys back. Yeah,
we'll head to Zandvoort for the mini-series finale there. So wish we don't have any of the winners to talk to, so at least we got to talk to somebody in the league, obviously someone in a large position that helps put this thing on, which runs very well. Happy to be a part of it. So any shout outs you'd like to give for your league and for your finish here tonight?
Well, I want to thank all the guys that helped me with the fuel mileage. That was really good today. And shout out to the guys over at Hammond's Patties that they're watching on the show today. Sorry I didn't get up in the front, but hey, next time, another race.
Yeah, you do the best you can. You can head on to next week, and thanks for talking to us, Terry, and I hope we'll be talking to you in the future. All right, so it looks like we are going to wrap up coverage here on PTR TV. Just want to give a couple quick shout outs before we do so. Shout out to our channel sponsors, Air Movement and Fabrications, to Brandon's companies. Well, former company Krutz Custom Graphics, now soon to be renamed to Fame Motorsports, which is a company that does offer motorsports merchandise, clothing, hats, stickers, hero cards, paint schemes. What else does he do, Evan?
Pretty much anything you want for a race car.
Yeah.
Or for racing
whether sim racing related or real world. So if you have anything to do with making something look pretty in the racing line, check out Brandon. He's your guy for that. So thanks to that, of course, we couldn't do anything without the actual race itself in iRacing. So thanks to them for helping for giving us the platform to put these broadcasts on. We do really appreciate having the opportunity to be on the Esports Network and to get to showcase this content to the masses. So signing out of the booth here today is Corey Silva and Evan Black. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good night. We'll see you next week.